to another encounter. It's an encounter. Welcome to another day in our series where we have been talking about why it is important that children can lead themselves, direct themselves, why children should set goals. All right, today we're going to be talking about another interesting topic. I was here 2 days ago, I was here yesterday, and I'm here again today, right, to share insight on why it is important that children should begin to take certain roles in their lives. Accountability is what you give children when you trust and you believe that the child can grow. It is what you give to your child. It is a gift. Accountability is a gift that you gift to your child when you trust that that child can grow. So, what you are saying to the child invariably is that I trust. I know that you have something inside of you. I know that you are capable of much more than you do right now. I know you're capable of doing much more than I can see right now. And so I trust you to do more. I trust you to push yourself. I trust you. There's much more inside of you than you have even touched. So I trust that you can do more. So I give you the opportunity and I give you my trust to go ahead and be more than you are right now. And guess what? I am going to be right here cheering you on, and I'm going to be right here making sure that you are on the right path. So accountability is that gift that you give the child that makes the child know that you will always be there. Accountability just simply says to the child, I will always be here. I will always be here for you. And so, whatever you are doing, know that there's someone that is watching and there's someone who has expectations of you. My name is Maribeth Chima. Good evening once more, and thank you for joining me today. If you are catching the replay, let me know that you are on the stream, and of course, put in the comment section where you are joining me from. If this is the first time you are joining any of my live session, please let me know. Also let me know that it's the first time that you are joining me. And yes, you can even drop your name and let us know so that we can say hello to you officially. I like to chat. I like to say hello to you. All right. I need to wipe my glasses. Give me a second. All right. So, as I was saying, accountability is a gift and it is one that we need to give to every child as early as possible. It is an invitation to take responsibility. Yes, it is you inviting the child to start taking responsibility for themselves. All right. Accountability is you inviting the child to follow through with every task that they start. All right. So when you offer your child or you offer a child accountability, you are saying to the child, I know that you can be responsible. I trust you to be responsible. And so I am inviting you to be more responsible. I'm inviting you to be responsible for the things that are within your responsibility zone, right? Whatever thing has been given to the child as a responsibility, this is you, right, inviting them to take on that task. This is you inviting them to own that responsibility. This is you inviting them to be the best version of themselves. Accountability is an invitation to make informed decisions or informed choices. So when you offer children accountability, you invite the child to that space where the child is important enough, where the child is told that they are important, that they are special, that they are worthy of making certain decisions, and that you trust that they can make those decisions. How can you give someone this level of trust? How can you give someone this level of, I believe in you, this level of belief, assurance, basically, and then the person will not do more. If you know how we operate as human beings, you will know that every time you find people who respect you, every time you find yourself in a place where people trust you, where people respect you, where people think that you are worth something, you actually want to do more. You actually want to, you don't want to fail them, right? You don't want to fail them. You don't want to, disappoint them. So that's the whole idea. I mean, that's part of the idea, in having children, right? Or in holding children accountable, or giving children responsibilities and holding them accountable. What you're doing to the child is you are saying to the child, I trust that you can do this. You're saying to the child, I trust the choice. I trust the choices and the decisions that you make, because I know that there's something, about you that is special. So it's a very easy way to say to a child, you are special. Okay? It's an invitation for the child to grow and lead themselves. All right? So when you hold children accountable, you are saying to them, I trust you and I know that you are capable of leading yourself. You're capable of making little decisions when it comes to your life. You're capable of making, certain decisions when it comes to your life, right? So that's a lot of responsibility. And then, of course, it's also saying, I believe that now that you can lead yourself, you can also lead other people around you. For instance, you can lead your younger siblings. You can lead, your class. You can lead your peers and all of that. So there is nothing, I mean, there is nothing about accountability that is not confidence boosting. Everything about holding children accountable actually will help them feel bolder, will help them feel more confident in their ability, will help them feel more worthy about, themselves. It will help them feel more important, right? Because now someone believes in me. Someone thinks that I can. Someone believes that I can. And so I want to make myself proud, and I want to make them also proud. So accountability is a principle that every child must be given. It's a principle, it's a gift that every child must be introduced to as early as possible, as I said from the beginning. All right, because it doesn't only tell the child that they are important, it helps them understand that they are responsible, and it invites them to take on that responsibility and begin to own that responsibility. The earlier we own our responsibilities, the earlier we believe that we are capable of things, the more responsible we are, the more focused we are, the more driven we are, the more passionate we are. So if you want to raise a child who will become a passionate person, you want to raise a child who understands purpose and lives in their purpose, then you need to hold them accountable as early as possible. That is why the principle of accountability is something that every parent wants to introduce in their home. Every parent wants to invite their children to be a part of as early as possible. It gives the child a sense of importance. I've said that over and over again. All right. It gives them a sense of importance. You are important, and I know that you can. That is why I am allowing you take charge, because I know that you can. It creates a safe boundary for your child. So when you hold children accountable, you create a system in your home that holds your child or your children accountable. What you have done is you have created a safe boundary within which the child can exercise their autonomy. So you create a safe boundary within which the child can exercise their autonomy, the child can exhibit their creativity. That's what real accountability does. It does not suppress the child, it does not subdue the child. Rather, it gives the child the opportunity to actually, expand their horizon. It gives them the opportunity to stretch and explore, right? Because now in that accountability system, you are giving the child the power to push themselves or to do what they need to do, while you are there with the expectations, and you are there to call them to order, or you are there to, of course, give them feedback, while they are learning and growing at the same time. So you see why accountability is very important. It gives the child the opportunity to learn and to grow at the same time. Okay. And so we're going to be looking at, Accountability and what's accountability mean. When you give your child, when you hold your child accountable, what you are saying to the child, what language the child hears when you make them or when you hold them accountable. When you hold a child accountable, what the child is hearing or what the child hears is that I can grow, right? I can grow. Accountability will help me grow. That's what you are saying. Now, a lot of times, because as parents, we don't help our children understand the why, behind accountability. We don't even help them understand that we're holding them accountable. That's why we say to parents, enroll your children, register your children to join us in the mastermind circle. Because in the mastermind circle, we hold children accountable. So it's a mentorship program, it's a mentorship and accountability program where we are helping the children learn, we are teaching the children, we're coaching the children, we are training the children. Now, apart from that, right, after training them, after teaching them, we have expectations. We have daily expectations that we give the children. So, meaning the child wakes up every morning with a sense of responsibility. The child wakes up in the morning and there is something that you are reminded that is your responsibility for that day. Now, this task are stretching. This task are tasks that, you go to bed the previous day and you don't know that this is the task that you have the next day. So the task will stretch you. The task will help you push yourself. The task will help you create ways to solve problems, right? It will help you think of how to go about them. The task will help you become creative, basically. It will help you become creative. It will help you think of how to solve problems. So it helps you learn problem solving skills. The task will help you become consistent as a person. The task will train your ears for instructions. So it teaches you how to take instructions and how to run with instructions. The task will help you, of course, become accountable because at the end of the day, you were supposed to come in with what you were able or what you have been able to do. So all of this is embedded in our system in the mastermind circle, right? So in case you are asking, how do I help children understand accountability? Because accountability is not talking, is not scolding the child endlessly, is not always getting upset with the child, is not judging the child. Accountability is creating a system, all right, that spells out the expectation past time. So the system is curated, and in that system there is what is expected, and the child or everybody in that system knows what is expected of them, and so they wake up or they move daily thinking of how to achieve that expectation. They go about thinking of strategic ways to go about achieving that goal or that task or meeting that expectation per day. And this is how we teach children accountability. So accountability is a principle that requires a system, a process to achieve. And so as children go through that system or the children go through that process or create process to achieve, right, the expectations daily, they learn how to stand up to those responsibilities. They learn how to show up to achieve, right, those expectations, and then they learn how to solve problems on their own. They learn how to stay on task. They learn how to initiate tasks. They learn how to lead themselves, and then eventually they learn how to lead other people. So you see, it's a whole system, and the earlier you introduce your children to these systems, the earlier you introduce your children to this principle, the better for them. All right, number two, it tells your child that I am learning. I am learning with ease, not under pressure. I am learning with ease and not under pressure. So when accountability is introduced in the right way, the child understands that there is no pressure. All right. The child understands that there are expectations because I am capable. So when we give expectations to the children, right? When we hold children accountable, we don't go and bring things that are beyond them, right? We bring things that are within what the children are learning. We bring things that are within the child's age expectations or milestones that the child should be achieving per time. All right, you are supporting the child, you are in a community together. Okay, you are modeling to the child, and so you have modeled to the child, and then you step away and you say, you know something, I trust you, I believe that you can, I know that you can, I know that you have it within you to do this. And you know something, because I know that you can, I'm just going to chill somewhere and allow you do your thing because I know you are capable. So what it does is it rather projects trust, right, in the child's ability rather than put pressure on the child. So when you hold children accountable or you create accountability systems for children, what you are saying to the child is that you are learning, you are becoming, but not under pressure. All right, you're not pressurized to do any of this. You are just capable, and we want you to be the best version of yourself. Number three, what the child hears is that I can trust myself. All right, when you hold children accountable, what the child hears is I can trust myself because my parents trust me, because my mentor trusts me. So when we help the children, when we raise the children, we nurture the children, right, in that whole environment of trust, right, what we do is we help the child begin to trust in themselves. We help the child begin to trust in their own ability. Even when they fail, they know that it's because I have not put enough effort. So all I need to do is get up, dust, and then push a little more, right? And push myself a little more, and I will get there. So what you do, or what accountability systems do, okay, when you introduce them to your children, is you tell them that you trust them, and so they begin to trust themselves also, because now you are giving them permission, and you are allowing them to push themselves. And every time they push themselves, they make progress. All right, they make progress, and that's it. In a good accountability system, there isn't a fixed target of where you will get that we will say, okay, you have arrived. We are more concerned about the process. We're more concerned about the process, being able to move from point A to from point B. Just the other day, I was reading the children's reports. And I read a report from one of the leaders, right? We have children, 5-year-olds. We have 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds in the mastermind circle. So one of them had written her report, and of course, it was a lot of scribbling, her handwriting is not all very cohesive and yet, but it was beautiful. I could read, I could see, or I could make sense of what she was trying to say, and the response I gave her was amazing, beautiful. I like the effort that you are making, and all of that. And the truth is, what that is saying to the child is, you are killing it already. You are killing it already. I see your efforts. And yes, there's so much more that there's a lot more that you can achieve. But you know something, you have made progress today. You know something, you have made progress today. And the process is what is important. So that's what you do when you hold children accountable. You help them pay attention to the process. You help them pay attention to the fact that they've been able to move from point A to point B. There is nobody that says there's a fixed time to move from point A to point Z. If you're able to move from A to B, then you have done a good job. Well done. All right. All you need to do is push a little more and you will get there. And that's it. That's what real accountability does for children. And that's what we do with the children we work with in the Mastermind Circle. And we help partner with parents so that they can begin to apply this even in their home. All right. Very critical. When you raise children in an accountability system, you say to the child, you can be free. So accountability offers children freedom. All right, it offers children freedom, and that's because freedom is responsibility. Yes, that's because freedom is responsibility. So when you hold children accountable, it means that you are giving them responsibility. The more they achieve those responsibilities, right, the more they are free. They now know how to do that thing. All right. They now know how to do that thing. They now know how to navigate on their own. They now know how to problem solve on their own. The freer they are from having to depend on every other person to navigate through life. Do you know the freedom? I mean, do you know the do you know, the satisfaction or the fulfillment that comes with being able to navigate on your own, right? I think because a lot of us can do things, certain things on our own, we don't understand how huge it is until you meet someone who is impaired in one way or the other, right? Think about, that person that to to eat on their own is a problem. Then you will know that freedom is not about nobody holding you accountable or nobody telling you what to do or something like that. Freedom is really about you being able to navigate through the challenges that you have on your own. I mean, if you don't understand it, let me bring it to what you understand. When you have enough money, right, you're financially buoyant, isn't it? Tell me, the person that has financially, that's more buoyant financially, the one that has more spending power, like for everything that you need, at least the basic things that you need, you have. I mean, you have the funds. You're that's you're that's you're that's capable. You have the funds to achieve it. And then the person that has to struggle, right? You really want something. In fact, you want electricity in your home and you can't get it because you can't afford it. Now, who is free? I mean, who is free in the real sense? Freedom is, sorry. Oh, shit. Sorry about that. All right. So, who is free in the real sense of what freedom is? So it's the person that can navigate. It's the person that does not have to struggle to get that thing done or to achieve that thing. That is the person who is really free. Okay, so that's what it does. When you hold children accountable, when you give them responsibility and hold them accountable, then sorry about this. So when you give them responsibilities and then you help them, you give them responsibilities, they now, because you're holding them accountable, they find ways to achieve that, and all of that. Now, what you do is you make them free. You give them freedom. So accountability will tell your child that now you are free. Now you can navigate on your own. Now you can do this thing on your own. Now you can achieve those goals on your own. You don't need mommy anymore to achieve your goals. You have set financial goals. We have created a system for you to achieve that goal. You have executed and you have achieved that goal. Now you don't have to ask your mom for little things because you have been able to achieve your financial goals that has now empowered you and has given you the freedom to navigate or to achieve this thing or to get this thing on your own without having to beg, wait, and all of that. So, do you see what I'm talking about? So, that's what it is. Hold them accountable, you make them responsible. Hold them accountable, you help them stay focused. Hold them accountable, you help them believe in themselves. Hold them accountable, you push them to do more. And as they do, I promise you, there is always, always, always the reward for diligence. Yet he a man who is diligent in his work. Okay, so what you do is you introduce your children to diligence. You introduce your children to tenacity. You introduce your children to creativity. They begin to look for creative ways to achieve the things that they want to achieve just because there is an accountability system that has been put in place. All right, the next one, it prepares them to lead. When we hold children accountable, we prepare them to be good leaders, because good leaders are not people who are free to do as they like. Good leaders are people who are held accountable by the people who put them in that leadership position. It's because we do not raise people to be accountable. That is why we see in this part of the world people become leaders and they think that they are now gods and masters. Okay, because in the, I mean, and because when in the real sense of it, rather, in the real sense of it, the fact that you have been given the responsibility to lead is you knowing that you now have a responsibility and you are now accountable to the people who voted you. You are now accountable to the people who gave you that responsibility. You are now accountable to the people who trusted you, right? So it's because we are not teaching our children, because we don't have a system of teaching accountability. That's why we see leaders who come in and they think nobody can question them. The worst thing you can do, especially to your male child, is to raise them without accountability, because what you do is you raise them to think that nobody can question their actions. You raise them to think that they do not owe it to themselves to set goals that can benefit them and their entire family. So be responsible enough or be accountable enough to share that goal with their family. So that's why we still have where, I mean, spouses will ask their spouse, right, why are we doing this, or what's this for, what did we do with this, and we get angry. Why are you getting angry? It's because you don't want to be accountable. All right, so now in our homes there, I mean, as in a family system, how do we make our children understand accountability, or how do we introduce accountability in our family system? Okay, I'm going to share three. Okay, what you want to do is you want to partner with your child and not put pressure on your child. All right, so help them understand as early as possible, right, the expectations that you have of them and why we have those expectations. So a good way to do it is to create your family policies together. Create family policies together. Create family agreements around practically everything together. All right. Create your menu together. That's an agreement as per food, right? So you are agreeing on what meals that we can have or what meals we will have every day. Now you are creating a system around that so that you do not have to micromanage that system. So anybody at all who is responsible, or anybody at all who is available, can actually make meals at home, or for everyone else, because now we have a system and we have agreed on this is what we eat on Monday morning, Monday afternoon, Monday evening, and all of that. What you have done is you have created an accountability system. If you go ahead and you say, okay, this person cooks on Monday, that person cooks on Tuesday, and all of that, that's it. You have created a system, right, that holds them accountable, so that on Monday, when the meal is not there, we know who to turn to and say, what happened? Do you understand? Now you see each of them taking on that responsibility, because they know that there is someone that is, there's someone who will call them to order, or there's someone who will ask them, why didn't you do this? All right, and they know that everybody is expecting this because it is an expectation. Now what have you done? You have set a goal for that child, or you have helped that child to set a goal, meaning on Monday the child knows that I have this goal to achieve on Monday, and then the child is thinking, how am I going to go about it? On Monday we're going to have jollof rice. How am I going to go about it? How do I want to make that rice? Do I want to make it with palm oil? Do I want to make it with groundnut oil? And all of see, this is how we get children into that space where they begin to set goals and achieve it. Don't think about these things in technical terms when we talk about them. Don't overthink them. All right, these are principles that you are supposed to apply in your home, right, with little simple everyday activities. Yes, simple everyday activities. That's why I say to parents and the children that I work with, or the children that have worked with us, in the vision workshop, all you need to do sometimes is create just one big goal. One big goal. For instance, in our home this year, we have one big goal. Each of us has one big goal. Our son has one big goal, and his one big goal is to be excellent. So excellence is one big goal. Now he applies that excellence in every area of his life. So in his academics is excellence this year. In his, you go to his room, excellence is driving what is happening in that room, right? In his spiritual life, excellence is driving. So everywhere he wants to be excellent. So it's easy to hold him accountable. It's easy to ask, what are you doing, in this area? Let me see the plan for this area and how you plan to be excellent in this area. You see that now. And then you can begin to hold them accountable. You can begin to ask questions. You can begin to, ask them questions, give them feedback, right? Help them do, tell them to do presentations to you. Where are you? Explain to me, where you are in your process. What process, explain to me your process so far. What have you done? So it's easy for the child to stay focused. It's easy for the child to navigate on their own, and it's easy for the child to get creative about how to achieve that goal. For our daughter, it's organization. So everything is organization. All right. So in everything that she does, organization at the back of their mind and all of that. For us, it's intentionality and consistency. We plan to be intentional about everything this year. So we're intentional about our parenting this year. We're intentional about our jobs. We're intentional about our businesses. We're intentional. So that's it. So all you need is one big goal and then focus on that one big goal. Very important. All right. Of course, it also prepares them. Okay, I've talked about that. I said it prepares them, of course, it prepares them for failure, right? So even when they fail, they know that all they need to do is just and get back to the process, because now in that accountability system there is no end. You have let them know that I am here, I will always be here for you. All right, now in that process, or in your process, you will fail sometimes. It's allowed. In your process, you will make mistakes. And that's why it is accountability. Because there's someone that can say to you, you are moving off track, so come back on track. There's someone that can say to you, okay, you want to look at that, what you just did again. So they can come back to the drawing board. So accountability on its own tells the child that there is room to fail, get back, and then move, and all of that. So that's what accountability does. Now, when there is no accountability in the system, you find out that children will make mistakes and they will sweep it under the carpet and they move on, because there is no one holding them accountable. In fact, a lack of accountability actually leads to shame, where children, even adults, hide their mistakes because they don't want to be held accountable, because they don't understand the principle of accountability. And so they feel that everything is a competition. They feel that every moment is an act. You're constantly acting, all right? They're constantly trying to project excellence because they don't want you to ask them questions. They don't want you to hold them accountable. So you don't want to do that to your child. If we introduce them to accountability right now, then they're open to feedbacks, right? They're open to answering, right, when they are asked why, right? So that's what you do. You're preparing them not just for today, you're preparing them for the future and for reality. Because the truth is, in this life, someone will ask you why, right? Even if they are not asking you they will ask you why, and at that time, it may not be because they want to support you. At that time, it may not be because they want to guide you. It may just simply be because they need to get you out of the system, right? Or they need to get you out of the place where you are, because they can see loopholes in what you are doing. Do you understand? So we want to prepare our children today, right, to be able to take feedback. So every time they are not on the right track, they are able to use the system that we have created to get back on track, or they have people whose voices can always call them to order. And this is why the mastermind circle is an important place, right, for your child. If you want to train your child to understand accountability as early as possible, you want to train your young child, you want to introduce accountability to your young child in a calm, subtle, direct, and effective way, then you want to enroll them into the mastermind circle. Why the mastermind circle? Because the mastermind circle accountability is as early as possible. So the children come in at age 5, between 5 and 10, when they are that young. Now, the accountability is close, the accountability is regular, the accountability is consistent. So we say the mastermind circle is that system where we see the child. We go out of our way to make sure that we see the child, that we make sure that the child feels seen and heard, basically. And that's what children need in that early stage of their life. At much older, right, they already have formed a system within them. So they can now lead themselves to an extent, right? They can lead themselves to an extent. They can call themselves to order to an extent. And so even when the accountability is not that close, the child is still accountable as they grow older. But you see, this first phase, the child needs that close accountability, and especially a consistent one. So that's why we say the mastermind circle is a foundation grant. So you need to get the children into that foundation system where in that very early year, those very early years of their lives, they can begin to understand the principle. So what we're doing now is we are helping them to understand the principle of accountability. We're introducing accountability to the children in a subtle way. So we say in the mastermind circle, we have a zero shaming policy. So no, there is no shaming. There is no right report. There is no wrong report. There is only your effort being seen, your effort being celebrated, and the bar being raised, telling you, no, you can do more, you can do more, pushing you to do more, holding you accountable, inviting you to one-on-one sessions, and all of that. So these are systems that we have put in place to help children understand the importance of the principle of accountability as early as possible, so they can embrace it, they can internalize it, and they can enjoy it, and they can begin to trust the systems of accountability. So by the time they become 12, 13, and 14, they are not afraid of accountability, or they do not push back, or they are not adverse to the whole concept of accountability. I have to stop here right now because the session is going to be supposed to be for about 30 minutes. So thank you for joining us. I hope at this point you have decided that you must create a system of accountability in your home, and of course introduce your children to systems where they can be held accountable, because it is very important for this season of their lives. Thank you for joining me in today's session. Okay. Thank you for joining me in today's session, right? So we do all of this and much more in the mastermind circle. All right, we track their progress, we give them feedback, we give parents feedback, we have an open door policy. And so because your child is in the mastermind circle, as a parent, you can now be a part of it. You can now have access to us because your child is in the mastermind circle. I'm going to close by saying that accountability is not something that pushes your child. Okay, it is something that lifts your child and helps your child understand that there is so much that is inside of them, and that there is a system that believes in their ability and is willing to hold their hands, support them, and help them become the best version of themselves. If you like your child to join us in the mastermind circle, then you are in the right time. I mean, this is the perfect time. We begin a new cohort of the mastermind circle in 3 days' time, on Saturday. Is that 3 days? Yeah. On Saturday this week, the 17th, we begin a new cohort of the mastermind circle where we'll be working with the children for the next 8 months. So it's a whole 8 months with us in the mastermind circle. All right. So this is the time to get them into the system. If you would like to do this, I need you to run to the comment section after this video, and you will see all the details that you need to enroll your child into the mastermind circle today. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for joining me today. If you have any questions, please put them in the comment section and we would attend today. Have a fantastic day. Make it a date again with me tomorrow at 7:30, where I will be sharing more insights on this and more, all right, as we talk about how we can empower our children to be everything that God has created them to be. My name is Maribeth Chima, and yes, I'm signing out. Bye. All right, then. Have a fantastic